hey, didn't see you there. What's up, internet? My name is Victoria. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm gonna be talking about diversity in fantasy novels. So this morning, my grandma informed me that I look like I just rolled out of a trash can, so I just thought that I'd treat you all to the same look. She doesn't realize the more ribs you have, the cooler you are. First of all, I'd just like to disclaim that I am not here to insult any particular fantasy series or any particular author in general. I'm just here to comment on a few points I hear from people who try to suggest that sometimes a lack of diversity can be acceptable. So the first main point seems to be that we shouldn't force diversity if it doesn't fit with the context or the plot or the setting or whatever. I sort of understand to some extent, maybe, if you're writing about a bunch of Anglo-Saxon lords in the 9th century, yes, they should probably be white, and yes, they should probably be cis males. However, when we come to fantasy, we have a completely different scenario where you can basically make up any world you want, where you're not bound by the shit we have in this current world. So my question then becomes, when you can imagine a completely fictitious world where anything goes, you have magic and you have dragons and all sorts of other things that are completely not found in this world. Just kidding, dragons are real. Why is everybody white? And the question we should be asking is not, why haven't you given me any people of color in your fantasy world? But really, why is it that when your brain imagines a world, everybody in it is white? I can think of almost nowhere in our globalized society where you may not have ever seen somebody of a different color skin than you. Especially if you live in North America and most of Europe, while perhaps there are some communities that tend to be more racially segregated, you at least know that other races exist. So when you have the chance to create an entirely new original world, entirely from your own brain that is not confined to the constraints of this world, please add some diversity. The excuses do not hold up. The second point that I would like to comment on is the idea that me, for example, as a cis white female, I can't write a black homosexual man because I do not understand his life experience. While I see a lot of validity to that when you're writing novels that are set in this current context where life is very much shaped by those things, when you're writing a fantasy novel, the context is completely different. So unless you're taking all the same shit that happens in this world and putting it in your fantasy world and going, oh, let's just oppress black people in fiction too, then there's no reason that you can't write somebody completely different from yourself. The things that they would have struggled with in that world may be completely different than the things that have happened in this world. The same way that I might not understand the life experience of a black homosexual man in our current world, I have that same disconnect from a white cis female in such and such fantasy world, because that's a completely different context with its own issues of inequality that are probably not even the same as ours. And they could be. You could write that in. But most of the time, people don't write that in because it's fiction and it's fantasy and they want to create something new and fresh and better in many ways. So when your context is completely different, people are going to be shaped in completely different ways, and that means that actually you have a lot more opportunity to write different perspectives from your own, because even your own perspective is not your own perspective, because the world is completely different. I didn't grow up with dragons and magic. That's what I want you to think. Yeah, so those are sort of my main points. Fantasy is not bound by the same problems that we have in our world, so let's not perpetuate them. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!